Hello guys, it's Max here from Daily Market Movements. Before I start this video, I just want to apologize for the lack of videos which you would have all received last week. Long story short, a very close member of mine in my family got rushed into hospital and had to undergo emergency surgery, so I had to fly out to a different country and help him out, and I didn't have any of the equipment with me, so my microphone stuff, so the quality just wasn't good enough to post. However, I'm now back, everything is all fine, so you can expect to receive daily videos from me, so I apologise for any problems that may have caused. So in front of me is a gold futures chart, and I'm sure that you've all been reading the news, and I'm sure that a lot of you would have been affected by this from a trading perspective. But this week has been a crazy week in the markets, and we have seen the biggest decline in indices since the 2008 financial crisis. Indices in Asia, Europe, and the US were down roughly around 14 to 13%, which is just unheard of. So now there is a bit of a dilemma with gold. Gold has now dropped nearly 125 points this week. We're now currently trading at the 1587 level, and earlier on Friday we did test the 50-day EMA, which I didn't really expect to happen, to be honest with you. As gold, I am short-term and long-term very bullish, but this is the stock market and it's full of surprises, as we all know. So we did find some support at the 50-day EMA, and we did get a slight bounce, and we're now at the 1587 level. So how am I going to trade gold now? Like I mentioned before, long-term, short-term, I am very bullish in gold. Obviously, these pullbacks in the indice markets and in all these stocks is due to the coronavirus. The outbreak is getting worse and worse. More countries are getting diagnosed with the virus. And I think now we're just at around 83,000 people in the world. And, I was flying out from Dubai last night, and everyone's wearing masks now. I think it's a real issue now. It's a real issue for the whole globe, as it's going to be affecting travel. It's just going to affect everything. So it's an absolute nightmare. And I don't think we're anywhere near resolving the problem as of yet. I still think that there's some bad weeks to come before we do get that vaccine. So how am I playing gold? Well, it's kind of a difficult one, because obviously gold it's a safe haven, so it's somewhere where investors go when indices normally underperform. However, the weird thing about gold this week is that it hasn't really acted as a safe haven. It's plummeted along with the indices. Gold was down just under 4% on Friday, which kind of followed the indices at the start of the day. Indices were trading down around 4% as well before they did get a slight pullback and ended back in the green territory. So this is where I currently am with gold. I'm still short-term and long-term bullish due to the fact I now expect loads of central banks around the world to cut rates. They're going to have to cut rates because, the supply chain supply chains of so many companies have been affected. Their economies are going to be very much affected by this situation with the virus outbreak. So you're gonna experience some cuts, some interest rate cuts globally, which is normally very bullish for gold. So I do think once the market recovers from this week, which has just been a shock to most traders, at the moment I think it's very algorithmic trading. Once humans step back into the market, they now have the weekend to digest all this information and what's happened this week. I do think that gold will pick up and trade back towards the highs of the 1680 level. So right now, how I'm playing gold, I have placed some buys. I have a stop loss though just under the 50-day EMA. As you know, at the start of next week, we could see further declines if this problem does not get any better. The floor at the market for me is the 1550 level. If we break below the 1550 level, then I think we are going to the 200-day EMA at the 1484 level, which will be a huge test for gold. If we do break below there, well, that's really not good for gold, and then I think that we trade back down towards that 1300 level. However, if we do see a bounce, once we break above the 1600 level, which is which will and probably should offer some resistance. If we can break back above there, then I think simply we trade back towards the 1680 highs once central banks around the world start cutting interest rates again. In terms of the RSI, we are in the middle. This kind of needed to happen if you took a step back and looked at the RSI. We were trading at 83, which indicates that we were extremely overbought, and now we have gained back some territory, and we could easily push back higher again to test that 70 level on the RSI. If you are long gold, one thing I would be extremely wary of is on the weekly chart. As you can see, we have formed a shooting star, which is a bearish sign, which could push gold back towards that the 1550 level, as I mentioned just a minute ago. So that is one thing I would be wary of. However, I still do remain bullish long-term and short-term, as at the end of the day, gold is a safe haven, and quite frankly, the world is in crisis right now. But I would be very careful, trade very small lots. The market volatility right now is very high. So if you do have small accounts, please do not do anything stupid. Trade with very small amounts, if trade at all. And just be very careful, because the markets can do very silly things in moments like this. So all in all, I'm still bullish on gold. I have picked up some value around the 50-day EMA, but these are very small trades. And if we do break below there and it triggers my stop loss, then I'll probably just sit on the sideline to see whether we will test that 200-day EMA. If we break it back above 1600, that's a very bullish sign. And I think we will then trade towards the 1675 level, which is the all-time high. The all-time the high in the last 12 months, as central banks around the world will be cutting rates.